Hello Dixons, I'm Humera Batul, Associate Assistant Principal at Dixon's Music Primary.
And I'm Francesca Hitch, Vice Principal at Dixon's Trinity Academy.
Today's episode is all about visible leadership. We are focusing in on one example of this, how we can support each other through our routine known as Ontol. We're reminded of Lou Gerstner's phrase that a desk is a dangerous place from which to view the world. And so, as leaders, we are often on corridors, in classrooms and out on playgrounds. All our doors are always open, and the purpose of Ontar is to support both our staff and students every lesson, every day. It is important to note that we never seek to catch teachers out and that anyone can have their lessons visited at any time. Instead, we strive towards a supportive, caring culture underpinned by strong relationships at all levels.
One of the ways in which we realise this is through our Ontar system. This is quite different to on-call. The latter is reactive and the former is proactive. What we mean by this is that we always have at least one experienced teacher, middle or senior level leader, touring the school at any one time. This time is sacrosanct for our staff and, therefore, always remains protected. We are able to ensure this time remains protected due to the embedded and consistent routines and high expectations instilled within the Dixon schools, meaning those members of staff are not using up all of their non-teaching periods resolving disruption. There are three main reasons for Ontar.
Firstly, we seek to support the upkeep of classroom culture through our supportive presence. At times, our presence in the classroom may reset a student's focus or support them with being on task. This could be something as subtle as sitting correctly in their chair or tracking the person that is speaking. Both staff and students know that on-tour happens every lesson, so students know that a member of staff will pop into all of their lessons. This reiterates to the students that we expect those high expectations to be present 100% of the time, and the students know that we ensure this happens every lesson. Secondly, we check whether teachers might need something. It might be a whiteboard pen or simply a reassuring presence. The first line of our leadership job descriptions at Dixon's say, "We are here to serve the students and staff." This is part of living that commitment every day. Finally, we clearly identify the areas where additional support is needed in upholding our whole school culture based on tight transitions and mutual respect. For example, teachers may request an extra member of staff to support with an entrance routine so that all our students make a purposeful start to the lesson. Additionally, we may recommend a member of staff go and spend a lesson with a colleague to support upholding our whole school culture if they are working with a particular group that a member of staff may require additional support with.
Whilst on tour, we complete a really light touch document every lesson that outlines which classrooms have been visited. Once on tour has been completed, the staff member then fills in any successes, next steps and notes from that period. Typically, successes might be that 100% of classrooms were using whiteboards to establish feedback, or 100% of staff were using positive framing to set up a task successfully. A next step might be that not all students had their prisms out on their desks. Staff also have the opportunity to spotlight any standout lessons in the notes section. For example, ASY's introduction to the tragedy genre was exceptional, or JST's use of chunked instructions in 8.3 meant that all students were able to get on task immediately with minimal fuss. These next steps are reflected on and often form part of our staff practice, whole school CPD and coaching the following week that is discussed in a previous episode on coaching. They allow us to be highly responsive. Staff also have the opportunity to fill in performance trackers after they have completed on tour. Every staff member has a performance tracker and anyone has the opportunity to fill this document in. They are public documents. Staff identify successes and one incremental next step that can be responded to immediately. As Mike and Adam's previous episode on coaching addresses, the use of the performance tracker is the starting point for providing incremental, detailed feedback to staff. I would recommend you go back and watch the episode on coaching in the mini-series if you haven't already. You may also want to go and speak to that member of staff whose tracker you've updated directly, or offer to complete the coaching on behalf of the line manager if appropriate.
The Ontol system role models to our students how professionals act in a place of work with kindness and compassion. It leads to an open door policy where our teachers see feedback as an ongoing, typical conversation, as it helps us all to be better tomorrow than we are today.
We hope you found this episode on visible leadership interesting, and we thank you for watching.